Alright, so this one's from February 5th, 2008. Clearly, I skipped a couple months. Um, Most of the blogging done on this little diary one, I usually only wrote on it when, like, I was upset about something, pretty much. It was kind of my way of coping. So if there's huge gaps, it usually means that things were going good for a while. Alright, this one's called The Girl. She wandered aimlessly around the house, only half aware of her surroundings. The house was silent and everyone else in it asleep, but she could find no sanctuary in sleep, for it was an unattainable thing for her. She had tried many times to sleep as she rolled back and forth to no avail. Perhaps it was some form of punishment from above, or perhaps she was torturing herself. Either way, one thing was certain: she would sit alone in her darkened room, reflecting on the past months of her life. She felt like a ghost, and though she was alive physically, she felt dead inside. She put effort into the facade that she was well and strong and perfectly in control of her life. But the truth was, she had lost control so long ago. It was as if she were an incomplete puzzle, and the missing pieces were nowhere to be found, so she would just sit until all the pieces were found, if ever. Just a little longer, and things will be okay, she would tell herself. Time heals everything, so she'd been told and believed, but she didn't know just how much longer she could fake it. How long until people began to notice how she truly felt. She'd given up more of herself than she even had originally thought. In fact, she was almost positive now that she'd given every ounce of herself, even if the others disputed the fact. It hadn't taken her very long to learn that she couldn't prove to others how she felt, especially the one who needed to believe her the most. But she knew how she felt, and she would have to comfort herself with that fact. Had he changed all on his own, or had she been the cause of this change? The thought of being responsible for this sudden and what? Malevolent change made her sick to her stomach. She could remember the good times vividly, and at times even smile at them. But now every good memory came with at least two bad ones. If only she could figure out the missing piece of the puzzle. If only she could figure out how to get everything back, because it seemed that each time it was within her grasp, reality would come back and snatch it all away from her, only leaving her with more memories from her collection. If only there was some way to fix it all. As much as she would like to say she was over it all and had moved past it all, she knew if there was ever a way to fix it, she would jump at it. But it seemed in her feeble attempts to protect what was left of herself, she only made things worse. The fighting happened all the time now, triggered by anything. It seemed any opportunity to hurt each other they took. But a small part of her wondered if the reason they fought with such fervor was because deep down there was still that passion between them. And a small part of her continued to hope that maybe one day he would miss her and come back. But the more realistic part told her not to hope, because hoping would only bring more pain, and she didn't know how much more she could take. He was under her skin, and he had no idea what a great effect he had on her. His words, his quips, they all ate at her, though she tried not to care and show it. She was doomed the moment she met him, and now she sat lifeless, waiting for something to lift the spell he'd placed on her. Yeah, apparently I get a little emo at times.